Welcome here to TalkFCB and welcome back to the channel, guys. And of course, coming up today, we have plenty, and I mean plenty, of reaction to that unbelievable derby match where simply everything that could happen probably did. We're going to be talking about Ronald Araujo and the injury problem that ruled him out of the second half. And of course, that red card to Gerard Piqué, which could leave our defence stretched in the coming games. We're also going to be talking about the promising and exciting display again from Adama Traore. But for Ferran Torres, it was a difficult introduction to the Catalan derby. And of course, how could we not talk about Luuk de Jong? It is all coming up, guys. So let's get to it. But if we do start with some of my player ratings from Espanyol against Barça, and of course, if you do want to get involved there in rating the players after every game, simply follow the link in the description. That will take you right to it, and you can get involved, because as you can see here, Luuk de Jong, top of my pile with 9 out of 10. We are going to be talking about his fantastic late equaliser. I thought Araujo was brilliant, really impressive in that first start before he was subbed off, and Adama Traore too. And I've also got Gavi rated 8 out of 10 as well, because the amount of times I tell you Gavi spun Alex Vidal, I think Vidal will have been sick of the sight of young Gavi by the time that game was over. Absolutely incredible the way that he deals with these kind of occasions, these kind of atmospheres, because young players usually would be intimidated by that. They would allow themselves maybe to be bullied in some ways, but Gavi, he thrives on it. He absolutely does, and it was incredible to see him out there playing the way that he was once again. But of course, for every highest rating, there has to be a lowest one, and as you can see right here, by far and away the worst performance on the field went to Eric Garcia. Big fault, of course, for the real crucial goal at 2-1 for Raul de Tomas. And I think after that moment as well, he was shaky. He was not feeling confident at all out there. I thought Busquets was poor in midfield far too many times, giving the ball away in quite simple situations. We cannot have that from Busquets, and of course we are going to be talking about Ferran Torres' struggles in this video. But if we do start with Ronald Araujo, who was actually pictured there when he was forced off the field, when he did have to go there to the subs bench. He was pictured getting involved with a few of the Espanyol fans who were probably sending some abuse his way, probably not nice things said in the direction of Araujo. So basically he turned round and he said, you know what, you guys, go back to the Segunda. Go back to the second tier of Spanish football, where, let's not forget, last season, Espanyol were playing their football. I thought that was a very good response there from Araujo. But like I say, him going off was a real bad moment for us, game-changing in many ways. Garcia coming on, and of course we do know what followed. But I think the most concerning thing was, how long is that injury going to see him out for? Is it going to be a serious one? We were hoping that it was sort of more of an impact injury, and this morning the club did confirm that Araujo has suffered a pulled muscle in his left leg, and it doesn't seem right now as something that's going to be a serious problem. He is going to be able to return hopefully pretty quickly from this. But is he going to be in time for midweek? And I think it's a real stretch there to be involved against Napoli on Thursday. And of course you are looking then at Valencia on Sunday. Is he going to be back in time for that game? Because of course, given the circumstances, we really need him. And the reason why, of course, is that Gerard Piqué, late on in the derby game, I think, of course, he was riled up. And I understand that. I was exactly the same sitting at home. I'm sure many of you guys, towards the end of that game, were getting very angry with some of the antics from the Espanyol players. But, of course, Piqué, he has to hold himself there to that higher standard, because he knows if he gets involved with any coming together, you know, what you saw there with the two heads together, it can always end in a bad way. And that's what happened. Red card for Gerard Piqué. He's now going to serve a suspension, and that means going into Valencia, in terms of defenders, we already had Umtiti out, we already had Longley out injured, we knew Dani Alves was already suspended, so that Valencia game, we were short on numbers as it was. Now you've got Piqué suspended. Now you've got Araujo battling to be fit. And you just look back on that moment and it was unnecessary from Piqué. And it was the last thing we needed right now at the heart of our defence. But of course, let's take a trip now down the other end of the field. Okay, our defence, we know we have problems, like I've said before. I think the main goal for Barça should always be score a lot more than you concede, because against Atleti, we scored 4 times. They couldn't come back. Yesterday, we did not put our chances away. we didn't have that finishing touch when we needed it, and that allowed Espanyol to take advantage of our frailties at the back. But going forward for me, by far and away, one of the biggest threats that we had, again, it was Adama Traore. Because you look there at his assist in the final seconds of the game to Luuk de Jong, that exact moment there is why we signed him. Because at the end of the season, you can imagine looking back on moments like that, big, game-changing assists like that, and saying, you know what? That's why we needed him. That is why we needed that injection in our attacking play. And he's the kind of player whereby things are not always going to come off. You know, he's not going to complete every dribble. He's not going to complete every pass or every cross because he takes risks. You know, he's somebody there who's always going to look to run at his marker. He's going to try and beat people. You saw him yesterday break out a few of the tricks that he has, and sometimes it won't happen. But the thing about Adama Traore, and why I would much rather that kind of player who's going to try things, is because when it does happen, it's going to be a big moment. You saw it against Atletico Madrid, the brilliant assist that he made, crossing into the area for Gavi. You saw it yesterday against Espanyol, and he could have had more, by the way. He put a number of absolutely brilliant balls, low ones, high ones into the area, and his first 2 games back at Barca for me, I've been excited by him, I've been entertained for sure, but it's also been about the final product too. He's already got 2 assists. And for people who are saying he's got no end product, he's got no final ball, his numbers are poor, it's a great start. But of course, like I say, unfortunately, in terms of that forward line, it was not a very happy occasion for everybody who played, because I thought, yes, on the right-hand side, Adama Traore was very, very good, excellent in his play. I thought Gavi on the other side was a real threat to Espanyol, like I say, and he was doing some really, really good things. But the one man yesterday that it really didn't work out for, and I was actually surprised that he played the full 90 minutes, it was Ferran Torres, because actually that role yesterday, it just didn't work. I think, you know, going into the game, you can see why Xavi lined up again in the same way as he did against Atletico Madrid, because I actually thought that in that false 9 role against Atleti, Ferran did do good work. He did make good runs. But this game, it turned out very different, because actually what Espanyol did, they bullied Ferran, they got bodies around him, he was not able to spin in behind, he was not able to make the kind of runs that he was making against Atletico Madrid. They sort of suffocated him in that area, and I just think we've got to be careful here, because I watched that game yesterday from Ferran Torres, and I just really don't want us as a club here to slip into the mistake of thinking, okay, he's very versatile, he's very flexible, he can play from the right, he can play down the left, he can play down the middle, that's all well and good, and it's great, but we can't make the mistake of not finding him a role, not finding him a specific role in this team. Because what I don't want from Ferran is what we've seen from the likes of Griezmann, what we've seen from Coutinho in the past, is just drifting through games, whereby you have quality, you've got all of that talent and ability in many different areas, but we want to see it in a specific area, in a specific role in this team. And I think Xavi certainly, as time goes on, will understand when it's the best time to use Ferran out wide, when it's the best time to use him down the middle. Of course, Ferran is still adjusting to Barcelona life. It's still very, very early, guys. I can understand people yesterday who were critical of Ferran Torres, but we do have to have that element of patience. We do have to make sure that we stay behind these players as they really do adapt to what is, we know, a very difficult Barca setup to play in. And I think evidence of that is somebody there like Luuk de Jong. Because let's be real, at the start of the season, you know, under Ronald Koeman actually, who was the man that brought him in, it wasn't going well. He wasn't having the kind of impact. He wasn't really getting on the end of things. He wasn't scoring goals. It looked like he'd be heading out of the exit door in January. But from that moment on, he's been transformed. I think under Xavi, actually, surprisingly enough, we found a way to actually really use him to his strengths, because Luuk de Jong has scored 4 goals in his last 5 games for Barca, securing us in that time, by the way, 5 points. 5 massive points have come to us because of Luuk de Jong. He scored the winner against Mallorca. He scored against Granada. That should have been the winner. And yesterday, in the last moments against Espanyol, he also scored, of course, in the Clásico, in the Supercopa. And you have to say, he's the perfect kind of player to bring on in that situation yesterday. Because I think starting games, I think from the very first minute, I don't believe that Luuk de Jong is the man that you base everything around, that, you know, helps in every area of play. But I think actually, when an opposing team has got something to defend and protect, you know, you look at it yesterday with Espanyol, they were trying to protect a win. Teams will also try and protect draws against us, and they'll sit back. They will really drop very, very deep. And when that happens, what better player to bring on to hang around in the middle, waiting for balls in, especially suddenly now we've got Adama Traore. You had Ousmane Dembele on the other side yesterday, and it is the perfect kind of environment to bring Luuk de Jong off the bench. I thought maybe he could have come on even sooner yesterday, because the impact that he can have and the different dimension that he can give us in attack is something that we've got to use right now. Many people laugh at Barca right now and say that we shouldn't be relying on the goals of Luuk de Jong, that we shouldn't be almost celebrating these kind of goals. But you know what? If you've got that option, if you've got a player who can give you what Luuk de Jong has been doing, we're going to use it. We are in a battle. We are in a fight. We are determined to get that top four however we can. And if that means throwing on de Jong, putting some balls into the box when things are getting desperate, I'm going to do that. I am going to do that every single day of the week. And yesterday, he secured a priceless point. And I think today, guys, in general, I'm sort of sitting here wondering how I should be feeling. A big part of me feels as though that was a missed opportunity yesterday, that we could have gone and won that game, and that would have really propelled us on. But at the same time, we can't linger on that now. We've got massive games coming up very quickly against Napoli, then indeed away at Valencia. There's no time to dwell on this draw. And like I say, I will gladly take that point in the end. But please let me know, what did you make yesterday of that display? What players impressed you? What players did not? And what sort of solutions, if you were Xavi, would you be looking at ahead of these big games to come for Barca? Also, guys, as well, it is indeed Champions League week 2. Of course, we are not in it, and that saddens me very much. But if you are interested in some Champions League build-up, I do have over on MORETALKFCB a match preview for PSG against Real Madrid, which is coming up there on Tuesday night. Thank you indeed for all of you getting involved here, and indeed over on the second channel. I really appreciate your support, and I always look forward to what you guys have to say. And I will see you soon, of course, with plenty more videos to come. But until next time, as always, Visca El Barça!